Scotch ring. Take on 45. Life is good. She's forever any problem. It's coming here in Nashville neighborhood. Life is good. We should go down in the woods. You probably would leave if you could. Life is good. You wouldn't leave it even if you could. Life is good. Life is good.
All right, yes, life is good. Hickok 45 here, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, the home, the adopted home, Johnny Cash. Who else? Waylon Jennings, Alan Jackson, all sorts of famous people. Yes, and probably more non-famous people than famous people. But we're glad you're here on a Father's Day. Isn't today Father's Day? I think it is. I think it's a Father's Day whether you're a father or not, you know. And we won't get into gender, right? But most of us know whether we're a father or not, right? And it's that day. So it's the one, kids, youngsters. Well, you may not be young, actually. You could be pretty old if your father is still living. I hate it. I know you hate it, but you know, you need to be nice to him today. Okay, it's just one day a year. Maybe there's a couple on a birthday and, you know, on Father's Day. Okay, you know, just be nice to him for that one 24-hour period. You know, John tries to do that. You know, it's hard, but he tries to do that at least that one day a year. So anyway, yeah, Father's Day, and you know, it's sad. A lot of people don't know who their fathers are. Of course, that's the downside of it, right? Of Father's Day, right? That's a sad fact that can't get around. And then a lot of people, they wish their fathers were still living, you know, that are not. You know, again, you got to appreciate people when they're around, because they ain't coming back anytime soon. So one thing about it, when somebody dies, I've noticed, I learned early on, they're really gone. They're really gone. Yeah, that's the one thing about it that many of you have experienced. And in this world where everything with the high technology, microwaves, we just have things done quickly. We can rewind. I can rewind this. I can redo it. I can play it again. Start that album over, that CD, just whatever, you know. I can fly. I may not like New York. It's been a long time since I've been to New York City, but I could go there tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I could experience it on a short visit or something. Even if I've left it, or my old hometown I never get back to, whatever it might be, and I miss it, and I can always get back there for half a day or something, you know, whatever it is. Even see somebody I haven't seen in a long time, you know, maybe for a short brief, but when somebody dies, you know, yeah, until that happens, somebody close to you, you don't fully grasp the meaning of the word gone. Yeah, really don't. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the help we get. I've been shooting. Is that okay before you got here? I hope you don't mind. I got my Model 29 out, 44 mag, 29.2, 6.5 inch, Dirty Harry model. Yeah, I was just in the mood to shoot it. Can you understand that? And that wasn't an insult, but I mean, most of you can understand why I would want to shoot this. Okay, that wasn't an insulting question if it implied that. I just like it. It's not, I even have a couple of new guns we haven't done videos on I could have brought out, but I was in the mood to shoot this. And that's what Sunday shoot-arounds are for. Just come out and shoot something I want to shoot. And often it is a new gun. I want to try out some more. And yak at you all and bore you, annoy you, okay? So if you're a new person to the channel, again, we get, you know, many every day. If this is new to you, yes, a lot of talking and a little shooting in these, okay? So glad you're here, and I'm glad I've got this gun, and I their help. Okay, and then of course Talon Grips and Palestol. Appreciate their help. I did update the uh, description here recently. Okay, I hadn't done that in a while, and I normally wait till I need to, kind of. There's a reason to, or something's hanging in ballast, and uh, and so you can check out the description. And of course, we always will get, no matter what, because videos once they're made, they're made. And I still see a comment occasionally. Oh, one today I think said, "Where's the link to join the NRA?" On some video. Well, you're sort of behind, aren't you? Right? I mean, you do realize how YouTube works. I think a lot of people might not realize, though, that you can update the descriptions, like all of them. Yeah, and that's really nice to be able to do that, and it's good for us because we have sponsors, and we can put links in. And if you're not aware of that, even if you have just a smaller channel, you're whatever, you might have a reason for doing it, but you can update every description. Okay, you can delete everything. You can delete everything in there, or everything, or the specific part you want to. Okay, here I am, Mr. Technology, giving you a lesson. But I didn't know this until 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know how long it's been. But you just go under descriptions and click description, and it gives you the option to replace. And it gives you the option to put it at the top of the description or at the bottom of the description, that kind of thing. And so you can create a template, is what I do. I've got a template, just in a Word document, and just put everything in there that I want in the description and save it, save it in a file and everything. And then, but the first step is you've got to get rid of what's in there. So I highly advise a template if you're going to do this. Some of you folks with a large channel may not realize this, but with a lot of videos, what I'm saying, where oh man, I wish I could go back and change this from whatever old videos and that kind of thing. And that was one of the frustrating things about Full 30. I couldn't do that. I can do that in Gunstreamer and in YouTube just with a click or two. It takes a little time, but not a lot. And so the first thing you do is, and something to remember, you've got to delete what's there. Now, if you got something different in every description, how do you tell YouTube? Here comes Homeland Security. Hey, the ATF. Probably a hospital helicopter, but how do you tell YouTube what to delete? If there's something different and everything. So that's the advantage of having a template, like keeping track of that. Like the same thing in every description, except for whatever is different is at the first, maybe, or at the bottom, wherever you want it. But you may have, like you'll notice in some of our videos, I may have a link to an earlier video on that particular gun, some different things like that, or even something about that gun, just written in the description. Something that is specific to that video that will never needs to be changed, okay? That would not be in other video descriptions. But the part that you want in all your videos descriptions, you want to have a template for that, and think what you want, write it carefully, spell it correctly. If you got a link, whatever you have, make sure it's exactly the way you want it. And I do it in a Word document, and that's the template that goes, and you can broadcast that to all your descriptions. And then since it's all exactly the same, you can remove it from all your descriptions. But it can't be messed with. Like if you went into one of your videos and I don't know, you changed it, say you even saw a misspelling, you wouldn't want to correct that unless you redid all of them. Because what you're going to do at some point when you're ready to update your descriptions is you're going to tell Google what you want taken out of all the descriptions to remove, and you're going to put that same, you just pull out on one of the descriptions, copy and paste it into that little window, and it's going to go through all your videos and take that out, only that, and it's got to match. It's got to match though, okay? So then it erase them all, and then you do the same thing, copy and paste whatever it is you want to put in all your descriptions, and it'll ask you can put it at the top or the bottom, after what you've got. That's why you notice that little line in all the descriptions. There's this little line, And I leave that in there, and then I just, because that's where the template starts at the end of that. And I just sort of, through trial and error, figure that helps a little bit. And so so anyway, I've updated all the descriptions. So, and that also tells you if now we're really lucky. Our sponsors, people who support us, almost all of them are longer term. We've had good support from people for years, not months, but years and years. But there's usually one or two come and go. It's like on a shorter agreement, like APMEX was just the agreement ran out. And so different things, so, there's changes. So anytime you want to know who is still supporting us, well, you can pretty much, look at the Sunday shoot-arounds. That tells you the answer, and also the descriptions, okay? The video description, all right? That's generally updated. And guess what? Sunday shoot-arounds are fairly up to date. So anyway, what else was I going to talk about? I got off on that. I tell you what, I need to not have any ideas in my head to talk about, because things just come to mind that I want to talk about. So anyway, hope things are going well for you, and that you're getting out now some, maybe even going out to eat, having some fun, within reason, and that life is treating you well. Got to stay in touch with what's going on. Of course, the ATF apparently is trying to get rid of SIG brace type things. It looks like, I don't know, hopefully that's not accurate, but it apparently there's something going on there. I don't know why they're after those things. That's crazy. What difference does it make? That's bizarre. So it's so important to keep in touch with your representatives and let them know what you think. Because again, as I've talked about, this woke child mob, Twitter mob, all the various descriptions of it, everybody's outraged, and they're grouped together in their outrage, and they may be coming after you tomorrow, coming after me. They're coming after anything they don't like, and they're crazy, really. So it's really important to make sure and even your representatives are afraid they're going to come after them for something, So the silent majority needs to be more vocal. Cindy Crawford is always trying to call me and get a date. Pretty funny, huh? So we've got to be vocal too, and at least make our voices heard. We just can't sit back, like we have, apparently, even though we are not an outraged mob. We have big numbers, and I guess we have to fake a little outrage. I think a lot of us are a little outraged at the outrage mobs. I think we're getting to the point where we're just about fed up with it. We've about had enough. I know a lot of people have. And you're seeing more people speak out. I think not afraid to speak out, not as afraid to be canceled for something they say and that sort of thing. Bring on the wrath of the woke child mob. I see a lot of people speaking out on the tube, on the TV, even in the news. So there's some people speaking out, and that's what we have to do. We have to try to focus on reason, common sense, and not be led around by the ears or the puppet strings by media or even politicians. And most of us know the real story, what's going on in the world. We're smart enough to look at statistics and observe our own cities, our own communities, and we know how serious a situation is, whether it's a virus or anything, I think. And so we've got to just keep living according to common sense, I think, and we'll get through a lot of this. What else was I going to talk? Oh, it was interesting. I heard from all my former students after last week, my little talk about the exams and things, and it was good to hear from him. Someone I hadn't heard from, 8 or 10 years. And that happens occasionally. I hear from my former students, through and he's a gun, interested in gun, bought a gun recently and all that kind of thing. And that's what usually brings them back, What the funniest part I've told y'all before was when I would have students who weren't even aware I was doing this. I was still teaching when I was making these videos, but it wasn't as big. And right there during that one period when, like, some of the middle schoolers, as I was doing this, and they didn't even really know about it maybe. And as they went through high school, they didn't really know about it, and they weren't that much into guns or something. They got into guns, got into college, and got more interested. And this happened for 3 or 4 different students would write me. One of them came by my classroom. It was funny, and so they were Googling around looking for information on a gun. One of them was a Garand. I know there's one student. And it's so funny because it's like revenge. There he is in a dorm room in college and Googling around trying to find a video on the M1 Garand. And lo and behold, there pops up his middle school English teacher demonstrating a Garand. And he didn't know. He had not known I was doing this. So it was great. Got revenge on him. But it's always great to hear from him. Some of them watch, and they probably just sit there and think, yeah, that guy still is pretty dumb. Still is pretty dumb. Still is pretty boring. And especially if they're not into guns, right? So that was pretty neat. Speaking of guns, I got an FN SLP this week. We're shooting. Been shooting the M1A in 6.5 Creedmoor. Been shooting a that's an FN too, yeah, FN 503. Sounds like a shoe or a clothing. I think it's FN 503. The little pocket almost, well, wood. It's a kind of a P365 size firearm, 9mm, single stack. Got that in, shot that some. Shoots okay. Got a mighty thin grip. Feels about like your cell phone. It's really thin, but it seems to shoot all right. We'll be shooting that some more, doing a video with it. Had some trouble with the FN SLP shotgun, and I'm going to shoot some more. And I was really ready to do a video, but it seems erratic. It's malfunctioning with mostly light ammo, but even heavy ammo. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not interested in doing a bashing video. We'll keep you all informed what's going on with it. But I'm just not sure whether I need to send it back or what's the deal with that. I've taken it apart and cleaned it again, and I'm going to go through some more shooting with it and see how it's doing. And if nothing else, it'll be more information for the video. If I can't get it to work, I don't know, I may send it back and get another one. But anyway, we'll let you know, because we don't hide anything about guns, as y'all know. I just don't like to launch into a video that's not working from the beginning. If this gun is like getting light primer strikes every other trigger pull or something, and I was ready to do a video, I'm not interested in doing, well, let's do a light primer strike video. No, I'll tell you about it, but I want one that works. So I'm going to do a video on it because there's a lot about the firearm I want to talk about. I like that FN SLP. I like that. It feels good. I had never shot one. Many of you have them. Let me know if you have any issues. It's not just light ammo. I expected that because it's a defensive shotgun. It doesn't pick up always even hot stuff. You'll leave one, it's kind of weird. Even with slugs. But it feels great. It really does. It almost feels better than my Benelli. Just handling it, the weight and the sight. And just there, I guess just the basic, oh gosh, what's it called? The standard police something. No pistol grip or anything. I really like the thing, but it's got to work. Kind of an important factor on firearms. They need to be reliable, just like this baby has been. It's never failed to fire. If I shoot that tree over there, boom, it's going to fire. So what else do we want to talk about? Anything? Let's shoot some more. Okay, I was shooting Magnums when y'all came into the room. You came into the field. Are you going to think less of me if I shoot some specials like Clint Eastwood? He shot specials. He talked about it, right? Either 44 specials or 44 a special load for his Magnums. It's never been clear what he meant by that line. It's in Magnum Force. They're down there in that underground shooting range. And it's the only time I think he mentions that load He calls it a special load. That's all he says. He doesn't say I'm shooting 44 specials. I'm shooting a special load to reduce recoil or something. So it's one of the great controversies of the world. So we don't really know what Clint Eastwood is firing in all those movies, except I do. I can solve that issue for you right here. I know exactly what he was firing. Okay? I'm an expert. You're wondering, oh, wow, really? It's Magnums? Special? Somewhere in between? No. What he was firing were blanks. Brand, huh? Brand deduction. He's firing blanks. Yeah, I've been shooting here. I'm sorry, I've already shot the target. Let's put a special on the gong, okay? Nice. Oh, cowboy has not been hit. Now he has. I could shoot. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's a bowling pin right here. Yeah, in my face. I think you can see it. Yeah, I could shoot that bowling pin. I moved the table up to get in the shade here, but yeah, I could shoot it just fine. But I'm not going to shoot that close. Probably nothing, but that's a little close. If it was a paper target, I'd shoot it. That's the beauty of paper. If you've ever played the USPSA game, the action shooting kind of things, they're running through stages and shooting. I used to do that, and it was kind of fun sometimes. The steel was the most fun, but you had paper targets too, and occasionally you'd come right up on, excuse me, on a target like right here. You go by and boom, 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 and you had a couple like that you were supposed to shoot. And it's kind of weird shooting something almost at point blank range. I mean, how often do you do that or get to do that safely? Well, with paper, that's no real risk to that, right? Bullet's not going to bounce off paper unless you're using a really, really light load. But yeah, generally I don't want to shoot anything that's hard, even that close. Bowling pins are great though, as long as you're not shooting buckshot at them or something. BBs or whatever, they'll bounce off of them because they're tough. Even the 44 special, it's not going to bounce off of it, I don't think, but they are really tough. I would not be surprised to see even a bullet that's really light, possibly bounce off one. You get that hard, like it's not rubber, but vinyl or whatever is coating, and it's hard wood, packed, and if anything can bounce, it could bounce off a pin. I've seen a 45 slug, 45 Colt bounce off a tree before. There's some really hard trees out there, like a persimmon or I'm drawing a blank, elm. Yeah, some of the old elm trees. You've got to be a little careful about that. So if you're shooting lighter ammo. So this again, the Dirty Harry pistol, one of my favorites. I've not even had it that long. Bought this up in Columbus, Ohio. I went up to a Second Amendment rally, boom, and got in trouble going into gun stores like I always do. So what else are we going to talk about? We don't want to talk about guns. I hate guns. Let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about a little bit. I don't know if you ever watch Greg Gutfeld. Again, I may mention names, people you hate, you love, I don't know. I try not to get too political. I'm a libertarian more so than anything. And I look for little pearls of wisdom wherever I can find them, whether it's in a radical left person or a radical right person or a moderate person or whatever category they're in, okay? And whoever they are. There's a lot of people that I have found wisdom in that I probably wouldn't even really want to sit down, or I'd find it difficult to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them or a beer or something. That's just the way it is. Whether it's a rock star, whether it's a country music star, whether it's a poet, or whether whoever it is, a celebrity, actor, there's just a lot of people. things are not black and white, are they? There's a lot of gray out there. People who seem like a bad guy, maybe they're not 100% a bad guy. They seem like an idiot, maybe they're not 100% idiot. You know, what's the line? Learn from fools and from sages, you know. So everybody has something to offer. Some not much, though, right? But yeah, again, some of my heroes, yeah, I use that term lightly. People I really, really like their work, you know, in any of those fields. You know, they might, if I really got to know them, might not like them much, you know, but still, there's something they offer, and I'm selfish enough that I will take that. Yeah, I will take that. That great poem, or that great movie, or whatever it is, that great song. Bob Dylan, for example. Bob Dylan, he seemed like he'd be really hard to talk to. That's an understatement, right? But my God, what a writer. I just have always loved the guy's work, and try to figure out a lot of the things he's written. That's what I think Bob Dylan was foisted upon the world as a major troll, right? He writes just enough that makes sense and is genius, but he always includes other stuff in his songs that, yeah, what's that mean? Where's that come from? How's that fit? You know, it's like he's like the ultimate troll, you know. But anyway, everybody almost offers some source, I think, of wisdom, perhaps, you know. But so anyway, long way around to say that, you know, you may not like anybody I ever mention, I don't know. But Greg Gutfeld I do like, probably because he is mostly libertarian himself. Extremely witty, intelligent. Sorry, Greg, didn't mean to insult you. That reminds me, he would run, in fact, I've got tickets to see him when he's coming to Nashville supposedly in August. And my wife and we've had tickets forever. It was postponed, changed, and I guess it's still on for August. I don't know. But he used to run our pumpkin carving videos on what was that, Red Eye, the show he had, and maybe he did it once on the 5. I don't know, either the pumpkin carving or the pumpkin kill video, you know, around or around Halloween or something. Not that I know him, but I've just always been impressed with him. And recently he did mention he bought a gun. So the guy has potential, right? To be a real human. But he's a witty guy. Anyway, he recommended a podcast this week, yeah. And I was watching, and he recommended a Sam Harris podcast. It's called Coming Back from the Brink, I think. It's probably Sam Harris's most recent podcast. I don't follow Sam Harris, but I have seen him in some other videos or podcasts, I think with Ben Shapiro and maybe Dave Rubin, maybe somebody else. I don't know. They were having conversations about things because they all disagree with each other on various issues, politics or religion or whatever. All these people are smart, intelligent people, but they have varying opinions, differing opinions, and get together and argue, debate agreeably. And that's the reasons they do it. Partly is to demonstrate how you can disagree with somebody vehemently, but you can also discuss the matter intelligently and remaining agreeable, you know. So I've always been impressed by that. But anyway, Sam Harris is I think you'd say a true intellectual. You may not agree with him, you might think he's an idiot on a lot of issues, but anyway, Greg Gutfeld was recommending to watch his latest podcast about the stuff going on, the racial issues, the police issues, and I don't know if he gets into the virus, I don't know, but and he highly recommended it. And so I said, Greg Gutfeld recommends it, I'm going to listen to it. And I did. I was kind of cleaning out the basement doing stuff. So I'll put a podcast on and just put phone in my pocket and I was listening to it, you know. I'm out here doing stuff on the place even. work on target range or something. It's pretty handy technology, isn't it? And I listened to all 2 hours of it, and yeah, I was pretty impressed. He's such now it's not exciting. It's not exciting. Kind of, he might even be more boring than I am to listen to. I mean, in terms of, I mean, he's like Sam Harris, just kind of sitting somewhere, and is like almost sleepy. That you get that impression. But his intellect is so powerful. He's so articulate that doesn't bother me. he, he is a true intellectual. Okay, again, you may not agree with him, but anyway, he goes through a lot of that, and he dares to discuss things that are difficult to discuss, and you might find it interesting. Okay, if you have that sort of patience that you can listen to somebody talk. Hey, maybe you do. You listen to me for 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Somebody like him, he is actually really intelligent, for 2 hours. You won't agree with some things, and Gutfeld warns us that you got to get past the Trump hating if you're a Trump lover or whatever, if your politics don't agree. Because Sam Harris he's left. He's way far left, okay? I don't know about radical left, but he is left, all right? And in a lot of ways, that's what makes what he discusses, I don't know, more palatable or maybe more valuable. That's coming from him. Okay, if Rush Limbaugh sat around and talked about the same things, it wouldn't be received well. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out. I don't know what else. Oh, what else am I going to talk about? Again. It's a shame that people are afraid to talk and use common sense, and in today's world, this Twitter mob, the woke child mob that comes after everybody, everybody's on pins and needles, and allows the media to drive the narrative. It's crazy. I'm so thankful that I grew up in a different world. I really am. I don't know if it has helped me or not, but it was a different world. I mean, can you imagine today driving up the interstate and a lot of pickup trucks on the interstate, right? What if you looked over and there were 4 or 5 kids, 12 years old, 13, whatever, in the back of the pickup truck, kind of sitting there, climbing around, getting up on the toolbox and sitting there wrestling in the back of a pickup truck going 70 miles per hour down the highway. How many people do you think would be calling 911? Like everybody almost, especially all the busybodies. Yeah. Well, that's the way I grew up. That's what we did. We were in the back of Dad's truck all the time. 2 or 3 or 4 of us. We'd ride back there, man, in the breeze, the dog back there with us. And, up the interstate. I-75, we had a farm out like 30 miles from where we lived there part of the time. Then we lived on the farm and back and forth. But so we were on the state highways. Just anywhere we went, we'd ride in the back of the truck, always. So think about it. We survived it. Now we might not have, and I might not be here talking to you, but so we don't know who's not here talking to you on some other YouTube channel. There probably would be somebody so much better than we are at doing these kinds of videos that doesn't exist right now because they were riding in the back of a pickup truck. And you don't even realize that. You're having to put up with me. Well, you're not having to. But that's just the way I grew up. Climbing trees, always in a tree, building tree houses. All the old jokes you hear about, the old men talking about drinking out of the garden hose. We didn't think anything about that. That's just what we did. Played tag in the barn, the tobacco barn. If you've ever been, probably haven't been in a barn, most of you like that. It's just a lot of rafters everywhere because you're hanging tobacco sticks, this row and then another row of them. So you have a lot of cross boards and beams, a lot of them. It's like a network up in there, and then it's full of tobacco, through the winter curing. Here in Tennessee, they fire a lot of it. They build a fire in there or smoke it and everything to flavor it, I guess. But we would be up in there climbing around playing tag. like way up in the barn and the corners, and fighting the wasps, and slipping, falling, all that stuff. It's a miracle we survived. But that which almost kills you makes you, or that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That kind of deal, I guess. I don't know if it made me stronger, but I, whatever effect it had on us, again, it sounds condescending, but I'm sorry that youngsters today don't really get, most of them don't get to have those experiences. Just getting out in the woods. I'd walk around with a rifle, or even my dad's handgun when I was like 12 years old, 13, shooting, just like I do here. And it's just such a different environment, and there was no, the media wasn't as strong. It was, you had your 30 minutes of news, and they weren't quite as political. They all leaned one direction, but you didn't really get as much of it. It was just I always think about it. If you went to CNN or Fox News, okay, guess what? We got a new plan here. You got 30 minutes a day to deliver all the news, and we got commercials for 10 minutes. So actually, you got about 20 minutes, 21 minutes, or 19 minutes to deliver the news of the day. Well, what does that automatically require? That requires that you mostly focus on what? Like news, real news. For the most part, it's still what you choose to turn the camera on, and what you choose from the universe of events as being news, right? And who says what, and who's done what, and all that. You can still put your own bias in there, but you just don't have as much time to try to build all these narratives, and you don't even have as much need for it. If you've got 24 hours of programming to fill, and all day long and all night, well, you got to keep people glued somehow coming back to the station. You got to have a lot of drama, don't you? Keep them coming back. Just like if I'm going to do one YouTube video in my life, or 2 or 3, I don't need a lot of drama to get you coming back next month. Not that I would be dramatic anyway, but you see that on YouTube. Of course, they're trying to get people to subscribe and come back and keep watching, and more craziness or whatever it might be. So anyway, that's what the news stations have to deal with today. And any way they can create that narrative and make it more dramatic than it really is, of course, I've talked about quite often. So it was a different world. And maybe not better, but definitely different. Definitely different, I tell you. And I don't know what it'll be like in 60 years from now. Youngsters that have grown up in this world. I don't know. Everybody might just be a part of the Twitter mob, and nobody left to eat and go get. Everybody's gone, and that's the thing. We all have to stay really vigilant, because they'll be coming after you and me and everybody at some point. We really have to be vigilant. And if you're a business, I encourage you to encourage the business folks. If you have contacts with any business, any CEOs, you have contacts with any of the major companies, or just whatever you can do to encourage them to just be strong and do your thing, and not let the Twitter mob, the woke child mob, affect what you do, and not bow down to them for whatever purpose they want you to change whatever you're doing necessarily. Maybe something needs to be changed, of course, that can happen, but just willy-nilly to be intimidated by large groups of people, mostly on the internet, and they represent real people, but we know that dynamic, and how so many people just don't really have much of a life, and they're ready to jump into any mob. They're looking for a mob passing by to jump into. What kind of comes down to everybody, not everybody, but all the people of that mindset, that emotional mindset, that I don't have a life mindset. They're like on a balcony just watching the various mobs parade by. Here, I can make a cartoon out of that for The Simpsons or something, and they got to have a mob to be a part of. And so whichever one looks most inviting, or maybe the most dangerous at the time, or the largest, whatever, the target looks the most inviting, they're ready to jump into that, be a part of it, and feel really good about themselves because of that. Lots of good, strong, whichever one allows for the most virtue signaling, probably, they want to be a part of that and just feel really good about themselves, because they just maybe don't feel good about themselves. They need to be a part of something like that to give their lives meaning, right? Okay, so that's just my opinion. But watch out for them. They seem to be coming for everybody. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just glad I had the kind of life I had. And even though we're all vulnerable to the Twitter mob in a way these days, at least I'm past the point where it really matters that much that I would lose a lot of sleep over it. So anyway, I appreciate you coming out today, and have a good Sunday. And I don't know, I'll probably show up again next week with some more rambling. So y'all take care, and have a great week. Please, will you? Life is good.